Hey guys, let me fix myself up here. Hey guys, how you doing? Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Got a couple comics here. We're gonna be doing some uh, Fallen Angels issue 3. Gonna be doing some well, that was that X Force issue number 3. I love this cover, and we're gonna be doing a little bit of New Mutants issue number 3. Issue number 2 was the best-selling comic of last month. Imagine that. Also, I'm looking in the comments and like, hey, where's Professor Bill? Y'all see that I did schedule this for 12:30, right? I'm technically 6 minutes early. I don't even want to hear about it. I don't live in a vacuum. Do comic book reviews for us. Dance, monkey, dance. Come on now. Come on now. Let's be nice. Anyway, so um, let's do let's do New Mutants first. All right, let's do New Mutants first for the impatient amongst us. New Mutants issue number 3. This was a fun comic book. This was a sad comic book. Dude, this ain't like the happy-go-lucky thing that we saw in the previous couple of issues, man. No, no, this is different. This actually gets rough. We get a whole bunch of glob and armor. I know everybody likes glob. I like glob. There's some people who love glob. Me, I loves me some armor. She does her thing in here where it's not just a regular armor that goes around. Thank you, Corey. Love you for that, man. Appreciate, brother. Sheriff Corey, my bad. So, uh, you know, she can make her armor go around her body. Ed Brisson, in his X Force comic book, made it so that she can actually make the thing go all the way around her and get like super duper huge. Well, guess what? Brisson decided to keep doing that in this book. So I'm down with that. I'm down with that. Anyhow, so the characters in this book are going to be Armor, Glob, Sage, Boom Boom, Maxime, and Manon. Basically like these two knucklehead, the two little kids, the French twins. They're like evil. They're not evil anymore apparently, because everybody's forgiven now. So all right, whatever, man. It's funny. Brisson was actually a part of that also. Brisson and Rosenberg and Kelly Thompson. Yes, for the first 10 issues of the X-Men, where and then they brought in like Cable. Anyway, all that good stuff. Sage is barely in this. She's only in this for a little bit. Boom Boom as well. They're only here as like tie-in characters to get them moving to the next field. Boom Boom lets Armor know, oh no, the other New Mutants, they all went up into space. They left me here all by myself. Now I'm bored out of my mind. Excuse me, that seems to be a common theme amongst everybody. Anyway, they're looking for Angel and Beak, characters that I'm not very familiar with at all. This is not regular Angel. This is a different Angel. There's a different name for this Angel something. Anyway, apparently the wife of Beak. Beak is ugly, bruh. Like this is one of those next gen or Generation X comic books that I just never got into. Um, Beak is ugly. Let me get over here to a picture of Beak. Look at Beak. This Beak over here next to Armor. Yo, man. Yo, and he's with this angel person. That's what I'm saying, man. As far as comic books are concerned, this is why incels shouldn't be upset, because if freaking Beak can find somebody as hot as Angel, bruh, like we could all find somebody. It's cool, man. Anyhow, so this issue is called To the Grave. Ed Brisson is the writer, Flaviano is the artist, Carlos Lopez on colors, and the letters are by VC's Travis Lanham. Tom Mueller does the design, and Rod Reese does the cover. Boom, head of X, Jonathan Hickman. So, yeah, you basically have Armor trying to figure out why didn't Beak show up, and Angel, why didn't they show up? Well, they and their kids decide to stay in. Oh God, here it comes. Nebraska, of all places. Cornhusk City. Cornhusk State. Um, like, no disrespect to anybody who's from Nebraska. I'm just saying, even Nebraskans are talking about, dude, I have got to get out of this freaking state before I kill myself because it is so boring. Like, I'm a recluse. I like just sitting in and not going out and just chilling. And, maybe invite some. I'll go out if somebody's got a good game of Dungeons and Dragons going or something like that. But aside from that, nah. No thanks. No thanks. Excuse me. So, anyway, yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, this issue is really cut and dry for the most part. They go down there, and there's this new disease that's out there. I imagine this is going to become a big thing. Munis moricium dementia. MMD, otherwise known as Taylor-Ellis disease. This is not a real disease. I spent a good 5 minutes making super sure and double checking this is not. Mother fathead, I will whoop your wiry ass. Anyway, the wire to this thing jumped out and attacked me. Let me try this again. I don't even remember what I was going to say. Anyway, oh, deputy sheriff, my bad. Anyway, I see that up there. What's up, everybody in chat? How you guys doing? Just kicking butt, taking names, and yeah. So this is a fake disease. Like there's, oh, here we go. There was nothing about this online. Nothing. So Taylor Ellis disease, MMD, none of this stuff is real. But there are a lot of stats here. There are estimated 10,000 people with MMD globally. 90% of those diagnosed with MMD will die within 6 months, but the mortality rate for within a year of being diagnosed is 100%. So nobody lives past a year. Most people die within 6 months. So that's pretty. This is like the new AIDS. This is like the new, I don't know, cancer, the new whatever in the Marvel universe. So it's very respectful that they didn't use a real disease. I like that they did that. Brisson's a class act. Also, MMD is most commonly diagnosed in patients between the age of 50 and 67. The fact that all of this was done means that this is not just going to be a one-off situation here. MMD is going to come back again. There are also some people in here who are some real bad dudes. I think this guy's name is Corn Pop. And you guys who follow politics, you are laughing your ass off right now that I just said that. Anyway, this guy right here and his crew, they have got some. First off, they go and right in the front yard of Beak and his wife, they kidnap their kids. And it's like the New Mutants came there and they're like, dude, what's up? How come you didn't come to Krakoa? It's like, oh, well, my dad, my father-in-law, he's sick. So they cure him, like instantly cured, right? He's just got to relearn some things because he'd forgotten how to drive, he'd forgotten how to move, he'd forgotten how to do a lot of things because dementia, right? So he can relearn all these things. The problem is he's got to relearn all these things. So they cure that instantaneously. Talking about, hey, you want to go back to Krakoa with us? This might be the thing, if they survive, that gets them to go back. These bad dudes show up and they've got tech that can basically like mutant nullifiers. It's some kind of a bazooka. Just saying, there's a lot of bazookas or RPGs in this week's Dawn of X books. They got this little bazooka thing, boom, and all of a sudden Armor loses her powers. And it's like, wow, that's really fussed. The best line ever happens at the back of this book because Maxime, I think this is one of the two French albino twins, are like, I guess this is why they always send Wolverine first. I love that line. I love that line. Anyway, these dudes are here to negotiate. They're not here for anything else, apparently, but it is, hostile negotiations, which if you're a Star Wars fans, you know that means negotiations with a lightsaber. So anyway, yeah, they're big, mean, and they want the drugs. They want the drugs. So basically, like, you always hear about these African warlords and the cartels over in Africa. That's why they're African. Anyway, they'll stop the humanitarian aid and they'll grab stuff and then they'll sell it to people because got to make a profit, right? Anyway, there's this thing called the sextant. I'm not sure why it's called a sextant. My understanding is that a sextant is six. I see 8 pieces there, but it's basically the homes for the younger generation. So the New Mutants, New Mutants, also the Gen X people, all the youngins, all right, the ones that need to get off my lawn. Uh, these young mutants here. So they all live in this facility. There's also a bunch of other schools here. So the Delta House is for Generation X. The Zeta House is for New X-Men. Beta House is for the Frost Academy. Hey. The Pod is for the Five. I guess that's the five who are one. Life Death Communal. Sigma House, the Jean Grey School. Alpha House is for the New Mutants. And the Omega House is for Redacted. What? Okay. So G, this one down here, this little trifold hexagon thing, that is redacted. We don't know what house that is for. Okay, guesses. I'm taking guesses in chat right now. Uh, yes, the the new X-Men have their own house now. What's up, Fierce Lady? How you guys doing? Comic Tom 101, big fan. You got a great channel. Thank you. Comic Tom 101. I feel like I should know you. I think you also have a channel, don't you? No disrespect to anybody. Like I know very few people. Like I know Second Street Marvel does because he advertises on my Facebook page. I purposely go out of my way to not watch anybody else's comic book YouTube content because I'm afraid that some of that stuff is going to cross over here, and I want everybody to remain unique. Particularly me, I don't want to have that influence coming over, so I don't actually look at other people's stuff. It's not meant as a disrespect. It's meant so that my stuff does stay unique. So I understand if you don't want to stick around, but either way, brother. Um, yeah, yeah. So anyway, um, let me see. With everybody, I am hoping one of these days to actually get together with a whole bunch of people and talk to a whole bunch of people and whatnot. So Comic Tom, Second Street Marvel, everybody actually get like a joint cast going at some point. Everybody's welcome. Um, so this one, New Mutants. The New Mutants, I already did the thing on the back. All of them have really short ones. This one is Tumulo. I actually had to really look at that one a lot, and I actually went to my chart. I was like, nah, I can't guess at what this one is. I thought it was Tunalo at first. Tumulo. I have no idea what Tumulo meant until I decided to look it up. This is a really rare word that I don't think is ever used. Basically, it means a grave or a tunnel or a barrow. Like I guess the Great Barrows in what do you call it? The oof, um, Lord of the Rings. You guys remember that? So yeah, tumulo. Go figure. That's one of those words that people who aren't very good at writing things, they look up in the thesaurus and like, I need a different word for, instead of always using this word over and over again, I need some better sounding words. So they look it up and like tumulo. That sounds good. So they put tumulo there. And it's just funny because this issue again was called what, Into the Grave or something like that? Yeah, To the Grave. To the Grave. So this issue is called To the Grave, and then the end it's tumulo, to the grave. So anyway, the beginning is the end. Okay, let's talk about fallen angels and really quick get into this. This was a really messed up book. Like the beginning of this, when Apoth, that's Apoth talking. That is insanity. Um, God lives in the breath of a excuse me, I know where God lives. God lives in the moment of a gunshot ends a life. God lives in the first breath of a child being born. Both moments equal, neither good nor evil. That's some Sybaris stuff right there, ancient Greek philosopher. Ooh, the language of conflict. And they're not clowning around. They've literally got only three people in this book, and they're keeping it that way for a while at least. Psylocke, Young Cable, and X-23. More on that in a hot minute. So this issue is called seppuku. For those not familiar, I'm very familiar with this word. Seppuku is what the samurai would do to, or even people in the yakuza. It's some people used to call it Harry Carry, where they would actually like commit ritual suicide. You stab yourself in the gut. You try to aim into the heart if you can, but you stab in and then you turn to actually disembowel yourself and allow you to die. And yeah, yeah, if you've got a friend around you, they can also cut off your head while you're, because yeah. Anyway, so seppuku. I remember I corrected my 12th grade English teacher, who was actually the head of the English department, and because he was like, "Yeah, Harry Carey." I was like, "Harry Carey is a really cool Beatles song, but it doesn't mean ritualistic suicide. That's actually something Charles Manson was doing. No, seppuku is the actual Japanese word for it." I took karate, like, since I was 8 years old, so yeah, I know me some Japanese. Anyway, so Brian Hill is the writer. The artist is Simon Kudransky. I literally found one panel, one head in one panel of this entire book that I didn't like. Aside from that, all the rest is just typical Kudransky, man. This is gorgeous art. Frank D'Armata on colors, VC's Joe Sabino on the letters, Tom Mueller doing the design, cover art by Ashley Witter, and yeah, head of X is still Jonathan freaking Hickman. So, um, X-23 and Psylocke are having themselves a conversation based on the stuff that they talked about in the previous issues. And really great moment here where Psylocke says, "You know how you came to me about anger and you didn't know about letting go and stuff like that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a time and a place. And right now, you see that monster over there and all these things coming at us, tentacles, very hentai-like. I said Japanese, didn't I? Yeah, all these things. Now's the time to go buck ape wild crazy. All right, just kill. All right, kill and point all your kill in that direction." And she's like, "Ooh, okay." So they're like, "Shoo!" They went, the X-23 slicing and dicing everything. And Silas like, "It's a thing of beauty, isn't it?" Damn. So Apoth is basically saying to himself or to us, to nobody in particular, he's basically saying that his mother is Psylocke and that he is the child and that Psylocke, that's Kwanan, she is going to serve him. She's going to help him at some point. Okay, I am very interested in this. Um, Wilfredo, I think that's sarcasm, and I likes it. Um, yeah, but he is younger. He is younger. Anyway, there's some sad moments in here. Like you get the victims of war. There's this little kid who's just like, in Portuguese, he's saying, "Please don't kill me." And again, this is Kudransky. I'm just going to show you the image. Psylocke telling, um, what do you call it? Oh my God, X-23, Laura Kinney. She's basically telling him, because Laura Kinney speaks Portuguese, she's telling her to translate. Tell him we won't kill him. Like that is really sad, and like the emotion in that face alone, and all these faces, absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous. Let me just get to the one image that I said that I don't like the look of it because it's just it doesn't fit with everything else. This one, the second to last page, the third to last panel. This head right here of Psylocke. It's a little bit too round, too cherubim looking. Should be a little bit longer, right? But hey, even the great Kudransky is allowed to make a mistake here and there. Well, this was his here. He gets one there. After that, he's still going to be Simon Kudransky. Um, they're talking about how Cable winds up getting captured and separated. It's frightening how that actually happens, but yeah, he winds up getting taken. He's got a certain set of skills, though. I'm sure he'll find his way back. In the meantime, the two ladies have to go after him. Now, one part that's very interesting here is that Psylocke is basically talking to Laura, and she's like, "Listen, it's always the kids. Why is it always the kids? Why do the kids always have to be taken? I just don't understand that." It's funny that Kwanan essentially is a kid. She got elevated too quickly. She got taught too quickly. She got made too quickly. There's the talking here about the butterfly uh, forgetting about the worm. You know what I'm saying, or the caterpillar in this particular case. And it's sad. It is what it is. But this just reminds me of a forced childhood, a forcedly rushed childhood into adulthood, right? Like get past all this kiddie stuff. You need to be an adult. You need to be an adult yesterday. So she's still kind of a child at heart who just kind of needs to escape. Laura Kinney is still a child. Even though she's basically a big sister to Gabby, the fact is she is still a child. She's just forced to grow up too fast, too soon. Nathaniel, Cable, he is bodily a kid, but he had to learn how to grow up very fast because of the time period that he was in and because of the responsibilities around him, right? All three of these are children who are being forced to grow up too fast, trying to rescue children from a child killer. I see what Hill is doing, all right? And it's wicked, man. There's a first appearance in here of this thing. We don't know what it is. It's not Apoth. Apoth, the first appearance of Apoth is issue 1 of Fallen Angels. But this here, this is a servant of Apoth. So you guys are speculating. Here you go. Don't forget to check out Ghost Rider issue number 3 today. It's another first in there. Oh, also the thing in the back. Very simply, it says nymph, nymph. So yeah, like a basically a child dryad. So the last book would be, oh, also there's two poem things in here. One is clearly from Hill. I don't know about the other one. It says author unknown. Let me just check my Twitter again really quick. I actually contact him to ask him, hey, um, you know, do you know who actually did this? And I've got no response back. So he didn't even see the thing yet. So, is what it is. I'll probably have an answer tomorrow, and is what it is. I guess even Brian Hill has to sleep once in a while. Okay, so X Force issue number 3 with this beautiful, awesome cover. Let's get talking about this bad boy. Let's break over here past the pain don't hurt. Yeah, sure. Tell that to Domino, who was just flayed. There's a lot of mutants in this one. So Benjamin Percy is the writer, Joshua Cassara is the artist, Guro FX is the color artist, VC's Joe Caramagna on letters, Tom Mueller doing the design, and cover art is by Dustin Weaver and Edgar Delgado. I'm glad that they're not doing the multiple variants again, because it's hurting comic book stores big time. All right, so this is issue 3 called The Skeleton Key. Interesting. For the sake of the no, you know what? No, I'll get to that at the end. I'll get to that at the end. So anyway, we get a whole bunch about Domino being skinned. She also had the thing put on her. You look at what was done to her. They actually showed this in the previews, and I wanted to, but I chose not to because I don't want to bother her. But I wanted to send this to Gail Simone, this image, and be like, look at what they did to your girl, man. Look what they did to her. They took out her eye. They took off half of her face. Like, wow, man. And Wolverine's like right there. You see, like Wolverine and Domino have one of those relationships where pain don't hurt. And I guess it's really important that they have Quentin Quire here. Again, I loves me some Quentin Quire. All that being said, holy crap, dude! If he wasn't here, this would be the most depressing comic book known to man. This poor girl has been skinned alive. She's still alive. They need her alive to try and remember whatever it is that she can. Right now, she only remembers the dude with the peacock tattoo on his hand and the peacock clothing, kind of looking like a peacocky Two Face. Anyway, so they need her to remember this stuff. She needs to remember this stuff. If they just like if Wolverine just I explained this in the previous issue, issue number 2 of this book. I said if Wolverine just snick does her in really quick, oh sure the pain stops for her and they could just resurrect her. The problem with that is then you lose all that information because her mind wasn't backed up. They can't read, like Quentin Quire's right there. Omega level, he can't just read into her mind. I know it's mostly telekinesis, but you get what I'm saying. He can't just read into her mind and understand what's going on because she doesn't remember the stuff. So it's going to take some time to get that out. If only Professor X were still alive, right? Anyhow, Professor X is alive again because like they rushed through that one. Now, why did they rush through all of that? What? Oh, and this is the scene I was talking about. Quentin Quire. Turns out there's a lot of RPG slash bazooka play in these Dawn of X books this week. So anyway, hey Swan, what's going on? Hey Maximus, how you doing? Everybody's in here. Wilfredo, John Wright, what's up? What's up? So there's talk of the Cerebro sword. Don't get your hopes up at something excellent happening here. This is the Cerebro that Magneto in the previous issue. He took what was left of Cerebro and turned it into a sword and handed it back to Jean Grey. Um, she apparently gave it back to him because now when Professor X shows up, quite literally at the last moment, because Magneto's going out to make a statement, Black Tom is there and he's like, hey, I'm going to go out, I'm going to start strangling a bunch of humans and taking out their eyeballs with my vine powers. So you go out and you talk all your talk before Black Tom goes out and talks his talk. That was good. That was good. So Magneto goes out there to have a conversation with the press. And it's like, oh yeah, it turns out he's dead. He doesn't even get a single word uttered when all of a sudden Professor X, like they had his body on lockdown and everything. That was priority number 1. And they already showed in the previous issue, we went over it, that there was a spare Cerebro. Well, there better be like 20 spare Cerebros because, brah, this dude got. You see that big X on his face with the Cerebro? Yeah, that's called a target for most people. So homeboy better chill out with that. Anyway, The talk of the Cerebro sword. I think that what this is basically referencing to is that, this book is called X-Force, right? X-Force has always been that elite team, especially with the Rob Liefeld version that was like, X-Force, boom. Um, and every book thereafter has been that elite team moving forward, doing the behind the scenes covert ops stuff. At one point, Professor X says in here, maybe I was being a little bit ignorant. Maybe I need to, not just be all peace and hippity and hoo ha and whatever. To me, my X Force, that was a bone chilling moment where Professor X is saying, we need this stuff. It ain't Scott saying this stuff now. It's Professor X saying this stuff. Okay. Okay. This is a more wicked version. I'm all down for it. I'm down with that. The trick of it is, this makes me wonder who planned all of this. See, because there's a moment in here where there was the leftover guy. One of the guys that were left over that Wolverine sliced and diced, they're like, oh, when adamantium bone or adamantium claws puncture and sever and slice and cut and impale, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? So oh, really quick, Andrew Speller. That's because Fallen Angels was actually delayed that first week, so it was supposed to come out a lot sooner. So that's why it was already done. It just had to, with the art. Anyhow, so what the heck was that? I just booped something. Let me know if my sound still works. Cyclops was right, Wilfredo. um, yes, you are right, Fierce Deity. He is starting to harden. I don't care how silly that sounds. Anyhow, so he yeah, he's basically saying like we're gonna need the X Force in order to handle Bitness. And he's got the team right there. It's everybody who you've been seeing in this book. It's Domino, it's Quentin Quire, it's Jean Grey. I doubt that she's gonna be on that. Beast, I doubt he's gonna be on there. And Magneto is going to have a part to do with this. Also, Sage is just sitting there kind of chilling out. So I don't know who exactly is going to be on this team, but I love the idea that the X Force book was created in order to show how the X Force is going to be formed. As opposed to a lot of other books where it's like, oh, X Force number one, hey, here you go. Whoa, where'd this team come from? Oh, go and read these other books that don't technically have anything to do with X Force to see that. No, no, no. All that stuff is from X Force issue number one on, how the team was formed, why the team was formed, all that good stuff. It's a good time to be an X-Man fan. Just saying. So, will Cyclops actually be on this team? Man, we can only hope. We can only hope. And if Jean Grey is on the team, here's three people who already live in the same house. You know what I'm saying? You just Wolverine right in between them both because what you gonna do? Anyway, so excuse me. Um, yeah, this book, it turns into the guy at the end, the peacock guy at the end. He's got his whole team there, and they're saying we need to start going dark web on the X-Men, on these mutants. We need to go in and we need to start making fake bot accounts, and we need to start making, websites, and we need to start getting the dark social media involved. This sounds a lot like the Immortal Hulk issue that came out this week. That review drops at 3 a.m. sharp. So anyway, yeah, all these, different teams and whatnot. We need to get these guys together and we need to go and we need to just start, really roughing up these X-Men, but digitally. We need to start bringing social media down and the world down on their heads, making the people hate them again because you already have the people out there loving them because of the three drugs that they're giving to everybody. So we need to make the world hate them again. Okay, it might just happen. I mean, they are mutants after all, right? So he says the name of his team, and this is where the team is essentially formed, is Xeno. Interesting because that's also the title of the next issue of X Force. So X Force issue number 4 is Xeno. Okay, these were all really amazing books, every single one of them. Next week, next mother effing week, December 18th, we've got The Marauders issue number 4, Excalibur issue number 4, New Mutants issue number 4, X-Force issue number 4, Fallen Angels issue number 4. 5 books, issue number 4s. 5 freaking books all coming out in the same week. So I don't think I'm doing any more comic book reviews that day or that night. I think that might be it for me, but it is what it is. Anyway, my peeps. So yeah, alumni. These were amazing books. Yes, I'm rounding this out to an end. Does anybody have any questions for me? Yes, exactly like xenophobia. I do have a request to make. Um, please share this video. Anybody who likes the comic books, who wants this stuff to get out, please share this or one of my other videos that you really like a lot, please. I'm seeing other channels that don't have nearly as much content as mine, who don't, like I said in the beginning, I don't live in a vacuum. But that being said, I do put out a lot of stuff. If you think the stuff is quality, please, por favor, share a video. Try and get it out to somebody who you think might like it, saying a PM, or put it on a Facebook group or a Twitter thread or something, I'm saying? Just one of my videos that you like, anyone, I'm cool with it. Please just do that for me. I would genuinely, in my heart, appreciate that. Just to try and get it out because, yeah, probably not going to happen very often because I already see the numbers dwindling as I'm putting out I'm doing all this stuff, and right away people start, oh, okay, Bill's asking for stuff. I'm going to leave now. I only exist to dance, right? Anyway, all that being said, Martin P., you are freaking awesome. Love you, man. Oh, could the Peacock guy be Donald Pierce, who is the Reavers? I love that you put that in the form of a question, much like Jeopardy, Andre Simmons. That was actually really good. Yes! See, that's the thing that I was thinking. It seems kind of too simplistic. It seems too like cut and dry. But yes, wouldn't it make sense if this is he was the white bishop, right? Wouldn't this make perfect sense if it was Donald Pierce, who is actually the Peacock guy? Oh man, 'cause I would not complain about that at all. It could be freaking Trevor Fitzroy for all I care. The idea is it's got to be somebody. I'm hoping it's going to be somebody that we know. While I'm totally cool with the idea that it's somebody new, thus we'll have, these different new characters coming in. I'm hoping that at least Donald Pierce is working with him because this feels like him, right? And you know what? If you want to get really, really silly with this, make it so that it's not Donald Pierce, but instead he winds up pissing off Donald Pierce. You're making these new Reavers. These aren't like my Reavers. These are different. What is this? What is this nonsense? Because these Reavers are pretty wicked. I'm also going to point out something. Healer died in this book, but he died off panel, which is kind of weird. Um, all of these guys, when they die, these imitation Reavers, the purely biological Reavers, when they die, they explode. So all these bone shrapnels and whatnot, they come out like carbon steel, and stainless steel and nails and stuff like an IED, like a little pipe bomb or something like that. So they blow up and they kill anybody in their vicinity. Wolverine and all them, are okay with that. Healer didn't make it. So that's actually something that you're going to read in one of the excerpts, as opposed to actually seeing in the book, which was really weird for me. But I guess I get it. Healer's not a major character by any definition of the term, so that's fine. But yeah, Healer wound up dying, and he's being rushed. He's being moved to the front of the line for resurrecting. Okay, cool, cool. Honestly, I think it was just a really interesting point to show off. It's like, oh, also, I was alluding to the idea that there is somebody on there because Wolverine sliced this dude up, right? The remaining surviving guy, but somebody killed him. We don't know who. Somebody killed him. Maybe it was Healer. That would seem kind of weird. He's the closest one that was there. But somebody put their hand, and it had a fingernail, this hand. I saw that. But the hand, it looks like bark. So maybe it was Black Tom. That would be weird. Maybe it's Krakoa itself. Somebody killed this remaining pseudo Reaver. That being the case, that means a conspiracy on the island still. Remember catering? The catering was somehow gotten to. I don't know who the catering team was, or anything like that, but somebody got to the catering team, tied them up and left them in their freaking van somehow in their little cubicle, and they went off and they were able to put that device in Professor X's drink or food or something like that so that he could get that tracking device on him so they would always be able to find him and assassinate him. He was, primary target number one. So there's already a conspiracy on this island. The conspirators are still there somehow. Is it a mutant traitor? Is it a Morlock? Who knows? But this is pretty wicked, my peeps. That's wicked. So somebody killed that that dude. And then with him being dead, his body exploded and it killed Healer. That's why I'm wondering, is it maybe Healer who killed him? And nobody questioned it. Says in there, nobody questioned it because, I mean, the guy was sliced and diced with adamantium claws. Who expected him to survive, right? So that's just very interesting. I'm wondering why Healer was right there when the thing blew up. Like, what's the time in between the explosion? You know? Anyway, um, D. McElroy, it's all good, dude. It's all good. Maybe it's Peter. Wow, Colossus. That would be interesting. There's a couple people in here talking about Colossus. Okay, why do you guys think it's Colossus? That spy answers to Zeno since he knew the professor died, right? What book is this? The one I'm talking about right now is X-Force, issue number 3. So that's the final one that I just did. What's up, Kyle McKay? So, Raven, what's up, Raven? Could the redacted school be the children of children of Bodom? Even though they say angels don't curl. Go back to issue number 1. Oh yes. Plus, they also showed him in the Marauders. He was wounded. He was wounded back then. Didn't even wake up. Yeah, he was jacked up and all that stuff. Something is wrong with him. Okay, okay. See, this is why we are a university. Something else about that sextant in New Mutants issue number 3. One of the things about the sextant is they're changing up their traditional classroom. Hey, I'm okay with that because traditional classroom teaching kind of sucks. The standardized tests and all that stuff in our education system really hasn't changed much since like the 50s, 1953, I think it was. That's standard American teaching. Common Core barely counts. It's just a new way of doing the exact same thinking. It's still standardized testing and whatnot. I don't have a problem with Common Core because I have a really good grasp of mathematics. But that being said, it's still not that big of a change. So here they're saying, oh, we're getting rid of the typical student-teacher relationship. There are no teachers. All of the students are teachers, and all of the teachers are students. So they all learn with each other. Yeah, that's really cute. I don't know how well that hippy dippy stuff will work in real life, but hey, whatever, man, whatever. You know what? I bet you Ed Brisson is one of those Montessori kids. That's what I'm thinking, which is fine because my oldest son is actually a Montessori kid, so he's a pretty smart cookie. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's see. Healer is needed. He is mandatory. I think he got tortured. Fierce Deity says, and does the high prevalence of mutant power suppressing weapons make it easy to beat the X-Men because it's irking me? It's kind of irking me too. That's why I actually mentioned that in New Mutants, these guys actually had the anti-mutant technology, the mutant nullifiers. You remember when Forge was the only person who had that, and then it got in the hands of the government, and it's like, okay, but it's still really hard and really expensive to make, so now it's like the government, somebody's being some kind of a sugar daddy to everybody and like everybody's got anti-mutant devices. Was it the regular X-Men book? Those 4 old ladies, they're just like, "Hi, now you don't have your powers anymore." Dude, can we please stop? There's too much of the mutant suppressing stuff going on. Like if your X gene can be taken away like that by every Tom, Dick, and Harry and old women, we might have an issue there. So yeah, that was one of the things that I noticed in this book also. That I'm just like, dude, come on, man. Everybody can't have that. Christopher Freeman, any relation to Crying Freeman? Because that was a freaking awesome anime. Is there a first appearance in X Force? In X Force, kind of. Yeah, there's the first appearance, the first naming of the group, which is Xeno. So they actually name the group. They say that they're Xeno. So that happens. As far as first appearance of individual characters, kind of. First appearance of that giant biological life form thing that wound up getting destroyed by a telekinetic grenade or RPG. Maybe. Still psyched that the different student generations got name called. Yes, I can agree with that. There are a lot of people who really like those books. And I wasn't one of those people who really liked all those books. I think that a lot of the problem is that I didn't like the art on those books, is what it is. If you guys go back and check out like my reviews of Generation X and stuff like that, the art was just, everybody had their tongue sticking out and showing toothy grins, open mouth. And it's like, dude, close your freaking mouth. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna let the flies in. It totally turns me off. I was just like, yep, nope, can't read this book anymore. I don't care how interesting the story is. I can't read a book that looks like this. Put it in novel formula, and maybe I can read this, but I can't read it with this art. So yeah, but a lot of those books I just did not get. Even the Generation books, which are the Generation X books, which are supposed to be my generation, I really just didn't get into those. I like the old '80s stuff and early '90s stuff. Any first appearances of these books so far? Yes, I mentioned several of them already, just in these three books alone. Anyone think Krakoa is infecting the inhabitants with its feedings? It's a good possibility because the X-Men, the mutants, excuse me, are so sure of themselves that they've got everything handled, but there's no way. There's absolutely no way. So something always goes wrong. And the best laid plans, right, are usually written on toilet paper. Are you going to drop any of the X titles? I'm dropping Excaliburs and New Mutants. Really? New Mutants? Go figure. I was thinking that I was going to drop New Mutants, and I had a feeling I would drop Excalibur. Maybe it's kind of a um, uh, self-fulfilling prophecy, but with all due respect to Teeny Howard, just what was I just thinking earlier today? I'm like, you know what? James Patterson is one of the highest selling authors ever, right? And I don't like his writing. I tried to read the first Alex Cross book. I didn't like it. I'm just not a fan of his work. So, but meanwhile, it's clear that he's a great selling author and he writes some amazing stuff. People love his stuff. Nora Roberts, whatever her name is going to be in whatever book she's writing. There's a bunch of people. There's people who don't like J.K. Rowling. I love J.K. Rowling. There's people who don't like her writing. Stephen King. I don't really dig Stephen King very much. It is what it is. But as far as Teeny Howard is concerned, I really just don't like her writing style. I don't like what she's writing. I really never liked it. To be fair, I never really liked the X-Force stuff to begin with. So yeah, I never liked the original X-Force, or excuse me, X-Factor, Excalibur. I never really liked the original Excalibur title very much, so there was just too many things working against me liking that book. So I'm probably going to check out issue number 4 just for the sake of conversation, but yeah, I really do think I'm going to be dropping that book. I don't know, man. Anyway, I might just report on the stuff that happens in the book. I might need to see what's in the book, and I probably just won't go into the details of the book because, again, I really just don't like the writing, so it is what it is. Anyhow, that being said, I'm going to miss that book big time because Marcus Toe is an absurdly good artist, man. Wow, that stinks. So, is what it is. Does X23 have a crush on Kid Cable? No, I think that you might be misinterpreting that, but you never know because she did. It's hard to say. She does have a sense of duty, but at the same time, she does understand that the mission comes first. Look at who her dad slash self is, right? It's all about Wolverine. So, New Mutants is Fuego. I don't know what Fuego means. I don't feel like looking that up. Can I get a translation? Um, oh, everybody's laughing about it. I can't laugh about it. I don't know what that is. X23 did have a thing with young Cyclops, yes, which was just freaky. I loved that, but it was still freaky because what does it say about Wolverine and Cyclops themselves, the adult versions? It's like to me, to me, it's that hot tension, and it sounds like a lot of the yaoi fan fiction that some ladies like to write. Yeah, I've seen those. I've seen those. Mostly about Robotech, but yeah, I've seen those. um, More human suppressing stuff. Kyle, I think Excalibur is going to get really good soon. I'm hoping. All the elements are there for it to be amazing. It's just not there yet. And I hate the idea that I might drop it and then all of a sudden, oops. Oh, fuego means fire. Okay, thank you. I think Lance Najera. In one video on the Punisher, you said you were a veteran. What branch did you serve? What was your job? I was 11 Bravo. That's infantry in the Army, and my eyesight wasn't good enough, so I got to Johnson Hall, but I couldn't go down range in Fort Benning, so I was transferred to. I was told, hey, what do you want to do instead for your MOS instead of being infantry because your eyesight is not correctable. At the time, it wasn't. You guys saw when I got glasses for the first time. Just yeah, it was like months ago. It's a couple of months ago. I finally got glasses. Anyway, so they tried to put me into OCS because I scored really high in the ASVABs, but I just wasn't interested in that. And I was so mad that I couldn't go into infantry that when one of the things they came up, they're like, truck driver. I was like, truck driver. Can't shoot, but you want to put me behind the wheel of a freaking 18-wheeler. Turns out it was a 22-wheeler carrying two Bradleys on the back. Hey, double trailer. I was like, yeah, do that. So I went to truck driving school in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri instead. And then when I went back to my unit, they're like, no, we're an infantry unit, so you have to get your infantry certification. So I went back to infantry school anyway. Go figure. So yeah, anyway, that was I've got two MOSs. Anyway, let's see. Do you think Gene's cemetery story is as was weird because I did. See, if they would have went a different direction with it, I would have actually liked that a lot, Wilfredo, because what happened? It's right in the beginning. She says she's talking to Beast, if I remember correctly. It's not right in the beginning. I don't know if I'm going to find this. Yeah, here we go. It's actually right here. She's talking to Beast. Um, Beast says talking about Professor X. He's all of our lives. He's not just one life. He says, will we be recklessly assured? Shouldn't we have a healthy fear of death? She says, no, not at all, and here's why. Now she goes into her exposition. When I was a kid, my family took a few road trips to Niagara Falls to Acadia National Park. And when we got tired of driving, we'd stop at county cemeteries. See, I had to reread that because at first I thought that she had said we never stopped or we didn't stop or we would not stop at cemeteries because that would make sense to me. Because then the whole conversation could end there. Instead, she went on about blah, 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 yeah, whatever. Good Benjamin Percy, he's a great writer. But this was a little bit weird. We stopped off at cemeteries and we made games of things, blah, 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 blah. They're talking about since we're technically immortal now, because we'll always be able to come back if we get killed or if we die, isn't that technically a bad thing? She says no. If she would have said when we took road trips, we never stopped at cemeteries. That would infer to me that we never stopped off and rested to be dead. You get it? That would make more sense to me. Death isn't something that should be feared. Like there's a big thing on there, which I get it. So there's still people who are afraid of death, whether it should be feared or not. I don't want to die in a really painful way. You know what I'm saying? I definitely don't want to go out, pissing and crapping myself. But I'm okay with dying. Personally, I'm okay with it. If I die in my bed, if I die because I'm sick, if I die, protecting my family or something like that, I'm okay with that, personally. But yeah, I don't think that if you took away death, it would make me any less fearful of death. I'd still be afraid of the pain. You know what I'm saying? I'd still be like, crap, if I jump into the fire, I'll come back, but it's going to hurt in the meantime. Nah, dude, I'm not cool with that. I am not cool with that. You know what I'm saying? You got to do what you got to do. But taking away the ability to die forever doesn't necessarily make you afraid of death. Although in this case, she's saying that it kind of will. But wouldn't that technically make you more selfish, or would it make you more selfless? You don't have to worry about self-preservation when you know that you'll be brought back if you rescue that kid who, oops, he's that kid is drowning and I can jump in and save him. But what if? It's always scary trying to save someone who's drowning because I'm not the greatest swimmer in the world. You know what I'm saying? I can stay afloat. You know what I'm saying? I can tread water. I can get from here to there. You know what I'm saying? I'm better at underwater, but who isn't? But I'm not a great swimmer. So I'm being serious when I say this. If I jumped in the water to try and save someone from drowning, they would probably wind up killing us both because they would it's instinct when you're drowning, you get terrified and you start trying to push the other person down, not intentfully, but to keep yourself up, to keep yourself afloat because we're terrified of death. We're terrified of that pain that's associated with death. So I would probably wind up being killed because I'm not a good enough swimmer to keep myself afloat if someone else is trying to push me down. My best bet would be to try and kill that person, to not, like punch that person around in order to get away from that person. So honestly, sorry, peeps, if the professor sees you drowning, I'm probably going to look at it and be like, yeah, I looked for a life preserver. I didn't see anything. I tried to throw something in, but I couldn't find anything that was buoyant. Me jump in? No. Just sorry. That's one of the ways I'm just not doing that. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of reasons I will risk my own life to save someone, but that would just be suicidal. That just doesn't make sense to me. That being said, yeah, the whole thing it was a really weird conversation. It was a weird form of philosophy that anybody who actually took philosophy in university, or if you read a lot of books on philosophy, or you speak with philosophers, or if you're just a really big Sam Harris fan, I don't know anybody who is. Maybe maybe you just looked at this and you were like, yeah, this was cool. But I looked at this and I was just like, no, I did not like this at all. I did not like that conversation at all. I literally blocked it out of my mind. Thanks for bringing that back. Much appreciated. So, Jersey sarcasm there. John's not dropping any of the books. Yeah, see, Kyle, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of actually missing out on something happening, so I don't think that I will. Um, it's all cool. It's all cool, Lance. Um, you'll find that well, most of the soldiers I know don't want to hear thank you for your service. We're just not interested in that. We're more interested in the idea is that there are 300,000 plus former soldiers with mental health conditions or something else that causes them to go undiagnosed because they weren't assigned a mental illness and they're living on the streets because no one will actually help them. And there are too many politicians on both sides who like to trample all over the necks of soldiers and use them as prop dummies. So yeah, there's that. So, thank you for your service would actually be like somehow trying to help out soldiers, um, because they actually need it. It's funny. I'm gonna say something really mean right now, not necessarily related to the comic book for a second. I yelled in my kid's school, my youngest kid's school. It's a public school. I yelled across an atrium to the teacher. I am a little bit hard of hearing. It's called hidden hearing loss. And yes, I did get this in the military. Um, so I yelled across an atrium because I saw one of my son's teachers there. I was like, hey, mister, just yelled out to him really quick. Hey, get your attention because you guys aren't answering the radio. I need to pick up my kid early. The principal, school principal, was right there, and she was kind of a bee. And she was very demeaning in the way that she talked about how, hey, I don't appreciate you, yelling like that. So I reminded her what I'd already told her before. Listen, I apologize if I'm loud. I am hard of hearing. It is a military thing, saying it happened there. So it honestly didn't seem loud to me. And the only reason why I knew it was loud is because I saw you cringe when I yelled. So I apologize. I actually apologize. I apologize. Uh, saying it wasn't intentional to be that loud. I just wanted to get somebody's attention. And she was still very demeaning about it and whatnot. And she tried to come over and like be a little bit nice. It's like, I don't really want to have this conversation with you. All right. I told you I don't like the way you just talked to me. And if you can't appreciate that, you've got some growing up to do. And I just walked away. And she has yet to apologize. This was a week and a half ago. But then again, I haven't been to the school because everybody in the household is sick besides me and my cat. That being said, think about that. She's really quick to raise a flag at half mast for the soldiers for Memorial Day and stuff like that. But here's an actual living soldier, and there are plenty of us out there. That 300,000 plus stat was only for America. I live in Canada, so how many is it here also? And there are a lot of homeless vets because people don't want to deal with the injuries that, veterans have because they're not all physical. Most of them are mental. And yeah, what do you do? Oh, well, they're too much to deal with. Dead soldiers are convenient because you can just, step on their necks and be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, what about the soldiers? No, no, no. Honestly, with all due respect, you want to thank me, you want to thank soldiers for our service, actually help soldiers. I am one of the few that my injury is minuscule. You know what I'm saying? There are many out there like that's something I would love to see. And then I will say you're welcome. In the meantime, D. McElroy, does anybody believe Xavier and Magneto know that Moira is alive? With all the trackers, you think that someone would catch her scent. Um, I think that, right? I'm pretty sure they're doing something to try and mask that. I'm sure that Black Tom knows. I think that they actually, maybe they meant, maybe they don't know. I don't know. But either way, you got to remember, this is Professor X we're talking about. This is a cat who has the ability to make you forget things. So Wolverine, like, hey, Moira, what was I thinking? What was I spelling? Oh, well, whatever. Anyway, like make him forget the smell. Like who knows? Who knows? So with Professor X there, yeah. F what you heard. Fallen Angels a damn good read thus far. What? I like Fallen Angels. I don't have a problem with that. Federico Blee, colorist extraordinaire. When I die, my last words will be pull my finger and let the end. I'll let the end loosing the sphincter's control finishing the job. Um, wasn't that Last Action Hero? The one guy, he was known for passing gas. He died, and it's like, ah, he's gonna pass gas one last time, and it's poison gas. It's gonna kill everybody. Yeah, that'll be Federico Blade. I love you, man. Oh, by the way, I put it away. I purchased it for you. I purchased that S Guardians of the Galaxy crap, not Valkyrie. Yeah, Valkyrie. I purchased you that version, um, Infinity Wars Endgame, the Endgame version of Valkyrie for you. So you need to get your butt up here, Comics Expo. Just saying, Fan Expo Canada. Um, what do you call it? Wolf Warner, X Force got to deal with true threats now. Not dropping any X books anytime soon. I hear you. I hear you. I just don't like reviewing comic books that I don't like. You know what I'm saying? That's my big thing. I don't want to be like one of these comic skater jackasses talking about people from Nebraska, right? I'm just not interested in reviewing comic books that I don't like. So I'll have to just look at the information from it, ignore the things I don't like, enjoy the beautiful art from Marcus Toe, and then just move on from there. You know? Um, Wilfredo, Glob Herman having a crush on Pixie was funny. How would that work? It could be an asexual relationship. Who knows? Well, it wouldn't be asexual. That would mean they self-produce. But you get what I'm saying, a non-sexual relationship. He's always liked Pixie, right? And I did see that when he was dancing with her, I'm like, tell me that he's gonna bust a move and ask a question, right? And then later on they address it. I'm like, crap, that sucks. Um, Aren't I the best? Yes, I am the best, Frederick. Actually, you're kind of the best also, man. All the love in the world. Thoughts on the Hellions team? I actually talked about that in the previous Dawn of X review. So, yeah, I would love to see the Hellions come back. That would just be perfect. You guys are all talking to each other. Lance, I would love to at some point help out veterans, possibly through charity organizations. I'm aware of veterans are homeless and psychological violence. They really deserve our help. Yeah, sometimes the organizations aren't the way to go, though, honestly. And you will hear the best stories in the world from these veterans. You know what I'm saying? Because they do want to talk, they need to talk. So, yeah, even just opening up a place so they could talk would be great. Do you talk about all the books yet? Yes, Kyle, I talked about all the books. So, oh crap, it's already 1:30. I've been doing this for an hour and about an hour now, almost an hour. So I do have to go. I've only got 4 comics reviewed at this point. 2 of them were sent to me early because Valiant Comics loves me, and I wish Marvel Comics and DC Comics loved me half as much. And Jim Zub kind of likes me at least a little bit. Won't do an interview with me. Still love the guy. Um, Jim Zub is gonna already went and did a review with Cape Joel. I love excuse me, I loves me some Cape Joel, but I've been asking him for an interview for a lot long. I just stopped asking for an interview. I guess never take no for an answer, right? Anyway, I believe tomorrow Cape Joel is going to have an interview with at 8 o'clock on his Twitch channel with Jim Zub. So if somebody wants to tell Cape Joel that I'm rooting for him, because I'll be watching. I'll probably be talking in the comments to everybody too. Actually, I probably won't be talking because I don't want to seem like I'm, self-promoting. I don't want to do that. So I'll be watching. Just trust that I'm there. Anyway, so that's awesome. He's going to be doing that. I'm going to be reviewing his. I already reviewed his Dungeons and Dragons book. That'll probably be coming out a little bit later. Already reviewed Bride #2 because I love Valiant Comics because they send me comics early. Immortal Hulk and Ghost Rider issue #3. Yes, so those are up. Those are going to be out. Those are going to be have butt kicking action, and I'm going to go now. I love you guys. Check you guys later. Mr. Federico Blee, extra special shout out to you because you're epic. And the people who have PTSD from being in prison. There are people who have PTSD from child abuse. You know what I'm saying? There are lots of people with PTSD. We can't save the world, but every so often we can take something, maybe more than one thing, but even if it's only one thing, and try and help out. I just got an insult by a guy on Twitter recently because the Marvel movies are absorbing all of the Marvel TV shows. They're absorbing all the Marvel TV shows. So they're saying that a whole bunch, there's a comicbook.com released this information, breaking news earlier. So there's going to be a lot of layoffs in Marvel TV. That sucks. I don't need to see that. I don't want to see people get laid off. Disney is the largest, it's pretty much one of the largest companies in the world right now. It's one of the top 5 largest companies in the entire world globally. Hello. They don't need to lay anybody off. They can find work for these people. So I don't want to see stuff like that, right? And I simply mentioned it's not cool. Hey, Disney, it'd be nice if, you could try to avoid stuff like that. And somebody gets who used to have a YouTube channel like months ago, almost a year ago, gets on. He's like, laugh out loud, dude. Hey, man. Nobody cares except on Twitter. Would it be nice if somebody had a platform? Even though he hasn't put up a video in like 7 months or more, he's still got a larger audience than me, more subscribers than me. So if he were to make a video and do something like that, holy crap, he could actually show that he cares about somebody besides himself. But hey, what the hell do I know? Why the hell do I care, right? So worry about the world. Try and care about the world. Care about the things that you possibly can. We can make the world a better place because if we don't, what are we going to do? Trust the large corporations to do that? Read the current issue of Immortal Hulk to understand why that will never work. Or follow politics. Okay, I love you guys. I am leaving now. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.